We are back on the Morning Brew with friends. We got our friend Greg Frost in this morning to talk about some mortgage stuff. My buddy Todd Bizio from the Epicenter Leader Match ABQ is here. Our buddies from Anderson Air Corps are going to give some tips on how to stay cool in this heat. And the Empire Game Library folks are here to tell us all about all the board games and how to get in on the action in Nob Hill on the Morning Brew with friends. Come on over, Greg.
Don't believe me, just watch.
I was looking at these things. I don't know what these guys from the Empire Game Lab brought in for us, but I'm hoping we get to play some.
Looks like fun.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm eager to learn the story about what the...
They're all new games to me.
They're all new. They're not Monopoly. They're not Chutes and Ladders. Not the stuff I play on a regular basis. And I can't wait to see.
I go back further. I'm back in the Parcheesi Monopoly days.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Yes. And, but I'm curious to see what the story is, because it just looks like so much fun, right?
It does. Very much
First,
fun.
before the fun, we got some headlines on the Morning Brew. Welcome everybody, brought to us by our buddy Tony and Guy Hairdressing Academy. First things first, this is big news. Last week, the governor signed the capital outlay bill, and this was huge, $294 million package. And it went up from $264 million. It was a big deal because the legislature couldn't actually get the bill passed during the legislative session, so they had to have a special session to make it happen.
I thought the governor maneuvered that situation pretty well. She wanted an agreement before she went into special session.
Well, those things are not cheap. They cost $50,000 a day just to have one of those. And, you know, I think everybody wanted a little bit more. You know, Republicans want a little bit more for roads, Democrats want a little bit more for senior centers, and everything kind of worked out in the end. I think it shows that once you got them in the same room, once you get people talking, you actually can come to an agreement on something.
And it was very good for the University of New Mexico and the other universities throughout the state who had capital programs in construction. And they were threatened with shutting construction down. They won't have to do that now.
And a lot of that, the roads was another big thing.
Big one, yes.
And then Todd Bizio is going to be on in a minute. He's going to tell us about how some of that affects the Epicenter at the downtown Innovate ABQ Center. So I think that's pretty cool.
Everybody gets a bite, so it affected everybody.
It's the best way to get our money back.
Yes.
The other big story, though, the last week, though, that has been really worrying a lot of people is worried about layoffs at Intel. And this has been something that has been kind of rumored for years. And last week, the CEO of Intel said that the company was indeed having a headcount reduction. No word about what would happen at the Intel site in Rio Rancho. I've called the state. So far, nothing yet from them on any warn notices or anything. But there have been layoffs in Arizona, and there have been layoffs in Oregon.
What we need to understand here is that our plant is a dated plant. And the Intel plant is really a factory. It builds a particular little chip or whatever. And that chip is declining in its usefulness in the Intel end product. So what they're looking at here at the New Mexico site is $1 billion reinvestment to retool the plant to build newer stuff. And so that's all part of the equation.
Essentially our plant now would be like making a 1988 Chevy Cavalier.
Correct.
It's not the high performance Corvette that they were making years ago. So we'll see what happens. They might, there's opportunities are endless for what they could do in Rio Rancho, but I know a lot of people are worried about layoffs. But there is some good business news this week. Lavu, they're the guys downtown. They make point of sale services for restaurants and bars. It's very cool. You can just swipe your credit card on an iPad and done. And these guys have been at it for about 5 years, and they were able to raise $15 million.
That's terrific. And we remember when that story was breaking here a few years ago, that brand new technology, and then we started seeing it pop up in a few restaurants. Now it's in more restaurants. It's becoming very acceptable.
I think it's really great. And then this is very cool. I know you're a golf fan. You love this. Charlie Beljon, he's one of the great UNM golfers. He's 30 years old now. He's from Mesa, Arizona originally, but he played at UNM for several years. And he is now in the hunt. He's in the top 10 at the U.S. Open. You can't beat that.
And if you've watched that on TV, what an awful looking course that is. I feel so good for Charlie that he's been able to hang in there.
I know. Apparently the greens are bad. But that's why I think it's fun for golfers to play it, because it's such a terrible place to play.
It's challenging. That's the nice word about that course is it's challenging.
I love it. And then finally, did you get a chance to go on the water slide?
No.
I missed it too.
I missed all that.
But this sounded like so much fun. It was on Car Loop. It was over by the airport, you know, and giant water slide. It's like a slip and slide thing that they just laid out, and it was Saturday and Sunday. Of course, there were a little bit of issues on Saturday, right? But look at this line. People wanting to just go in to see this thing. Roasting at 101-degree heat yesterday.
There's demand, no question about it,
Right.
for a facility like that.
It would be so much fun. I remember back in the day we had the beach water park.
The beach
one of
water
other
park,
things.
yes.
I mean, that would have been, this is the modern equivalent, I guess, of that. Too bad it was only for 2 days, but.
Well,
we'll see
maybe
if
they
bring it
showed
back
us
next
something.
year.
Who knows? Maybe they showed the entrepreneurs something that this could be successful.
That's a good thought.
Yeah.
Let's talk to Todd about that.
Yeah.
He's always looking for new business ideas.
Yes.
We'll come back in a couple of seconds. We'll talk about some mortgage stuff, jobs reports, and maybe Thursday nights at the county line.
Absolutely.
In a couple of seconds on the Morning Brew with Friends.